Hello there, I'm Megan Philp. Today I'm going to be explaining to you about what disruptive technology is and how we use it in our everyday lives. But before I get into it, I want to explain to you what even is disruptive technology and what is the purpose of this video. Well, for starters, this is a final project for my ESOC318 Disruptive Technology course. It was a short 5-week course that focused on disruptive technologies. A disruptive technology can be explained as something that has enhanced or upgraded a system or technology that already exists, making it more accessible for the vast population. In my everyday life, a disruptive technology that I use is the internet. Compared to other disruptive technologies, the internet is considered to be more recent. The internet can be considered the mother of communication and social media. The World Wide Web, also known as www. was created back in the late 1990s and was used for the U.S. Department of Defense, allowing one single computer to compute one single message to another single computer. It's like one and one, giving it to the other one. And now we use the internet for all of our immediate uses and advances in life, such as this online class, using it through D2L on the internet, or even getting directions on my cell phone to, you can't see, to the U of A from my house, which says 12 hours and 5 minutes. I mean, you can use it for any aspect of your daily life. After the invention of the radio, telegraph, telephone, and computer gave birth to the idea of the internet. The U.S. Department of Defense, with the company and technology of ARPANET, were the first to use the internet. Then, major universities such as UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, and Stanford were able to connect to the internet. During the 1960s, computers were very, very large and could take up a whole room. They were also extremely expensive, so not a lot of people could afford to have them. In addition, they were also very complex, and only engineers or students studying technology and computing would be able to use computers. However, from then on, computers and computing have gone in a rapid upward spiral. In 1971, Vincent Cerf created the Transmission Control Protocol, which allowed data to be sent back and forth and was one of the earliest days of electronic message, also known as email. In 1975, Ed Roberts coined the personal computer, which was the first way people digitally were able to connect via a screen device at an affordable price of $750. Later on, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs revolutionized the world in their personal ideas of the personal computer. In 1992, Airwise was the first internet browser created. Then in 1993, Mosaic was created, and in 1994, Netscape Navigator was created, which 90% of the population used as an internet browser at the time. According to techadvisor.co.uk, for 2018, Google Chrome was by far the most used internet browser in the world. In the early 90s, a system called dial-up was created so that a person could use the internet through a telephone plug from the computer to the phone. There was a time period where you couldn't use your phone and your computer at the same time. I still have those outlets in my house, even though we have wireless Wi-Fi. This is what it looks like. So, the internet has allowed people to communicate from all corners of the world. It is the largest mobile marketplace on the face of this earth. Most common way for people to gain and share knowledge and information. Internet browsers allow us to look up information so we don't have to go to the library and find a book and read heavy content books and to find out our answers. It's a very useful resource. One of the most popular utensils people use from the internet is social media. It is definitely one of the most influential ways to get media across to a large market of people, and it allows people to communicate from all over. However, there are also lots of positive and negative connotations that go with social media. So here are some people I interviewed asking their insight on social media and how it affects them.
So, growing up in a military family, I've been able to utilize new media, social media platforms in several different ways. First and foremost, since I am a military family, we tend to move around a lot. So, by having access to social media such as Instagram or Twitter or even just iMessage when you can text people, to be able to communicate with all the people and all the places I've moved is really nice because I can have lifelong friends. And then also another way is if our family gets deployed overseas, like for example, right now my sister is in Kuwait, we use FaceTime and things like Instagram or Twitter or whatever to keep her up to date as to everything that's happening here until she's able to come home.
I'm going to talk about my positive experience with technology and education. I grew up in the Silicon Valley where Google's headquarters are here, so I was just used to integrating education and technology like computers. Like senior year of high school, we got free laptops. And so since then, now I'm just more used to using laptops instead of taking notes or using Canvas or Blackboard or any like kind of social media educational tools. And I think they're very good for organization, collaboration, and just like research and stuff. So I think it's very useful using technology. And so now a lot of days people are upset when teachers say you can't use phones or computers in class because at this point it's the 21st century and everyone who's at least like 20 uses stuff every day, especially in class. So yeah.
I think that a negative impact social media platforms are implementing into not only my life, but I feel like a lot of females are unrealistic body expectations. A big thing nowadays is influencers who, I guess, influence you to have a certain body shape or certain assets that are desired, but a lot of the times it's unattainable. And though they may not tell us, like they're getting this through procedures and stuff. And so for somebody who's not so wealthy to try to get that is kind of negative because you work and work and work and you can't get it. So it's really not good.
Okay, so for the bad side of technology in class and in education in general, it's very easy to plagiarize and just share notes. And on top of that, people are finding new ways to cheat in class, like using Apple Watches or whatever. And in addition, it's sometimes technology can be distracting when I'm trying to study and my phone's going off, or like my computer, if it's broken, then I don't have access to all the stuff I need if it's not connected to the cloud or whatnot. So yeah, mostly just when technology fails and when it's distracting, I think it can be hard to use in the educational purpose, but I think it's more positive than negative in a sense, so it depends how you use it.
So, what are the ramifications of internet and how is it a disruptive technology? Well, let me explain to you about my personal use of the internet, social media, new media platforms, and how my family and I use it to the best of our advantages. So, for example, my father lives in Canada. It's not always easy or inexpensive to always be texting or calling him since it's considered international. I use Facebook Messenger, which you can use via Wi-Fi and is 100% free to message with him and contact with him, which is very useful for me and inexpensive. Another way that this affects me personally is from everything that I've learned in this class. I've never really thought about how technology can be considered disruptive until I took this course. So last week, we were assigned to watch a minisode about the medium is the message. And I feel like social media is a great way to explain this because you can't see the facial expressions or body language of someone when they're posting something online. So a lot of that social nonverbal communication is cut out because it's via the internet. So I wanted to include this clip from the minisode.
To this day, quite so radical. That's right, even today, 51 years after Understanding Media was first published, the medium is the message is still a challenging and radical idea. So, what does it actually mean? Well, in McLuhan's own words, this is merely to say that the personal and social consequences of any medium, that is, of any extension of ourselves, results from the new scale that is introduced into our affairs by each extension of ourselves.
Which I completely agree with, because once you post on social media, exiting out all of that middleman communication, it really makes the receiver of the message to decode what the medium is and actually understand the whole description of the medium and not just the literal terms of what it means. So, all in all, the internet can be considered a disruptive technology because of how it has been innovated, upgraded, and industrialized throughout its years. It started as a very small thing that very few people knew how to access, use, and further industrialize it. And then people were able to make it accessible to the entire community, to all people, make it affordable, make it usable, not seriously difficult to use. It still is a little difficult to use. And with this being disruptive, it has either enhanced everyday life, allowing people to communicate with one another within miles, thousands, and millions of distances, or it allows people to do online classes or help them to get to A to B, or post on social media and get a whole big mass viewer, whereas if you were posting something on paper in the streets, you probably wouldn't get the same effect. So all in all, internet, social media, new media are very, very helpful resources, and I'm very happy, thankful, and grateful that I get to use this technology, disruptive technology, in my everyday life. So if you stuck with me this far, I really commend you. Thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed this project. Thanks.